The Detroit Initiative is a program of courses within the Department of Psychology. We have 3 courses. They're undergraduate courses. In the fall, we teach a course called Community Research, and that's all about learning how to use research for the benefit of communities. So how can we use research to learn about communities, but also as a basis for advocacy and activism in communities. In the winter, we teach a course called Empowering Families, Empowering Communities, and that's more about the field of community psychology and how we can use psychological knowledge to benefit communities. And then in the spring and summer half terms, we have a practicum course where students are in the field working with a community-based organization in Detroit. Well, in the Detroit Initiative, we emphasize a couple of things. One is, first of all, how do you enter a community that you're not familiar with? How do you build relationships with new people and get to know them on their terms? Learning how to see the strengths and resources in what might be seen as under-resourced, and also how to strategically think about the needs and challenges that communities experience in ways that are constructive. We also want students to learn about different methods they can use to advocate and work with communities. And then program development. You know, if you think, well, kids might benefit from tutoring, how do you create a positive kind of tutoring program if that's what you're trying to achieve? So those are some of the skills that we're hoping students will learn. And also, how do you do all those things ethically? How do you do it in partnership with community members? It's very important that people don't come in from the outside and tell people what to do. We really want students to learn how to work with community members as partners.
So the reason that I took Psych 317 was because I grew up in Detroit, so I was very much familiar with the plight of the city in terms of the unemployment rate going up, the educational system definitely falling behind, and the simple fact that pretty much you go down any street, you're going to find several abandoned homes. And I just knew that the children definitely needed someone to assist them in understanding why the situation was, how it is, and how they could actually take control of those situations and better it.
I definitely wanted to not be scared from what I've heard before, and just really be open-minded and know that I'm coming from a really small white community, and just know what I'm coming from and be open to new experiences and new communities.
I got assigned to Hamtramck Community Center, and it's in Hamtramck, Detroit, a neighborhood center that I'm part of the summer day camp where the kids come and they have recreational time, a little bit of academic study time.
For me, the Delray Neighborhood House was the one that stood out the most. Very similar to Boys and Girls Club. And I knew for me that I wanted to really work with the kids because they're going to be the ones, the kids who are, 12 to 18, they're going to be the ones who are our future.
Well, every single day you go and the kids are so happy to see you. They just love role models, not adults, but they want someone that's cool and like an older sister or whatnot. So they love on you, they hug you, they want to hold your hand, and they're so excited to see you, and that's really rewarding for both parties.
What we did was we helped write grants and proposals for the program because they're a nonprofit organization. And we also helped come up with logos for the company, for the program, and with the curriculum as well.
I feel like we always had a strong mentorship relationship with the kids. I think at times they wanted to be just friends, but then when we started coming up with ways that they could improve their lives, I think that it became more of a guidance role.
My role was essentially to come in once a week. And some weeks it just involved tutoring the students. So they would come in after school to this community center. Sometimes they had homework, so we would work with them on that homework assignment. Other weeks it would just be to play with the students.
Kids came and took a bus down, and we started off with a tour of the library. And the whole premise of our final project was trying to give the kids a concept of college. Most of these students never had been to a college before. Most of the chaperones never been to a university before, let alone a Big Ten. So just kind of giving them the idea of what college is. Most of the younger kids don't know. It's very an abstract concept.
I feel like even though we had a short time period, it was enough time for us to make some type of an influence, some type of an impact with just our presence and with the information that we shared with them.
SWOT analysis are like the strengths, weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats that that the program might have. And it was me and my entire group that we came up with different strengths, but then the potential weaknesses, because we just found out that actually in Detroit, some of the classes, some of the high schools, they're beginning to extend their last semester of school. So that has a major effect on how summer programs in general are ran. So with that, like, we had to restructure the whole program, see what were different ways in order to reach out to the students as a whole.
We did this thing called Photo Voice as well. It's just a different technique where we can actually empower the people in the community to go out and take different pictures that represent what their neighborhood stands for. And to see them be able to take those pictures, we can identify the things that they identify most with their community. And with that, we were able to assist them in seeing, okay, so these are the problems. And then basically through some of the teachings that we received during the actual class time of that 3-hour block per week, we could use those different techniques to assist them in helping them to find out, what type of strategies could they employ to fix the problems that they saw in their communities.
I've improved my communication skills. I'm not really a type of person that openly communicates with unfamiliar faces, and especially adults, in order to make the program more organized and to make it go more smoothly. I had to be able to communicate.
Being able to work with youth, and also being able to work with liaisons for the center, and putting on this big event, just being able to organize and have communication throughout, make sure everything goes smoothly. It's a big skill to put on an event like this with 20 kids going around the college campus.
Leaders definitely already have a plan, and they know that they want to help and they want to do anything to help. So you're working with 6 other people within the group who are very strong-minded, and then you have the founders of the program who are very strong-minded as well, and they all have their own set idea on how to do things. And I think compromising and then listening and then reacting to what's been said, I think that definitely helps with your social skills and your leadership skills as well.
Definitely a big takeaway, and that I've applied even through more upper level research classes, has been to really take advantage of all of the different ways that you can obtain research. There are so many different methods, and they're all extremely useful.
A lot of times, we'll do our research and we think we know everything about a community because that's what the numbers say, but the numbers don't tell the entire story. When you actually go in and you meet the people, you get to hear their stories, you get to hear how they feel about their situation, you learn that the numbers, again, do not tell the entire story. So for me, it was definitely an open mind. It was being patient. It was being understanding. It was doing your best to empathize with their situations, and understanding that, people, just because for us, they might not live at the same standards that we might be used to just based upon the socioeconomic status we may come from or our surroundings here on campus, doesn't mean that, they're not happy. A lot of these people will, we might think that, you live in a neighborhood with abandoned houses, so it must be terrible situation, but for them, they find ways to band together and build relationships and understand that, we have a lot of positives and a lot of strengths here. Everyone else might not see it, but we know that it's there. When
you're thrown into an environment with people that have different personalities and different social economic backgrounds and come from different cultures, you have to learn not to be so judgmental, and you have to avoid the stereotypes and the bias and stuff like that. You see each person as being different, but you have to treat them all the same.
I would like to be able to do this in the future and just be able to see kids have fun and something meaningful, you know, and having them kind of come up to me and ask me questions like, what's this building? What's that building? Being able to do that, I want to go into social work and work with children and families, and especially with inner city and underprivileged students, low-income cities, and being able to instill faith and hope.
Well, I think that each of the programs brings a unique set of opportunities for students, learning opportunities. So, you know, the IGR program is very focused on having students learn about structural inequality and social justice through dialogue. And we use some of the IGR type activities and exercises and frameworks in teaching the Detroit Initiative. We're teaching about the same kind of content, you know, structural inequality and social justice, and also activism through community engagement. So it's sort of trying to get at the same goal, but with a different method of teaching. So I think there are things we can learn from each other. I know that sometimes there are students in IGR who wish, well, I wish I could take this into a community setting and sort of do something out in the real world more. Using these methods, and I think the Detroit Initiative can provide that kind of opportunities for the students who are interested in doing that. We've always had a pretty close relationship with the community-based research program at UROP. In fact, we really developed those programs together. So we've always had sort of interchange between the two programs and sort of shared resources. So I'm looking forward to being able to do that a little more closely, and you know, students who have done Detroit Initiative being able to go into like a summer community-based research fellowship where they might be able to extend the work they're doing, and also, you know, spend more time in the field, because in that fellowship program, you're spending 30 to 40 hours a week working on community-based research in a neighborhood in Detroit. And that's very different from being in a class where you might spend 2 to 4 hours, you know, at a community organization a week. So it's really a chance to get more in-depth kind of experience. So I think there can be really creative synergy, you know, with our three programs coming together.